I said I was going to do a video come out in October or this fall. Now it's halfway through October. Boy, trying to get to a point where I could do a video, almost impossible. I got really sick back in mid-August. I had a respiratory infection, and it led to me getting a very bad case of chronic laryngitis, which, if you can't tell, I'm still recovering from it. And that screwed up a lot of things. I mean, it was like I pretty much could barely talk for 5 minutes at a time, and made things very complicated at work. Made things very complicated in my personal life because I just couldn't talk to anybody. I mean, it was like lockdown 2.0. I didn't go out. I couldn't do anything. So I had this trip planned to go out to do the eclipse, and I was going to go out to southern Utah and do a whole big video on that. And it didn't happen. It didn't happen. I had to work. I had some insane deadlines that I had to make, and some other issues popped up that were outside of my control that also, delayed everything, and I just kept digging in, trying to fix the problem. Didn't find the problem. I can't fix it, unfortunately. Somebody else has to fix it. But at least I found the problem. So I'm picking up part of my trip now. Just left today. And it's October 15th. I am on my way to Jasper, Arkansas, to catch up with my buddy Rodney. And we're gonna go do maybe some fall photography if the colors in the trees. We don't know yet. There's a little bit of color up here in the Midwest, but not exactly what I'm hoping for right now. But there's plenty of waterfalls. There's elk. There's eagles. And most importantly, I get to go hang out with a good friend of mine. That's what this part of the trip is going to be about. And at least I can talk to him because my voice is coming back. Video angle's all jacked up because I can't. My action cam is not set up for the truck. I got my phone set up a little bit where to work. Fine enough for vertical. So with that, I will check back in later.
So before I went on my trip, David mailed me his 500 PF, and we wanted to see how well it paired with the Nikon Z8. And while I was waiting on Rodney to show up on Monday morning, lo and behold, an eagle swooped down out in the middle of the road, and I was able to catch him on the perch, which is the first time I used that particular lens with the Nikon Z8. Seemed to work out okay. And unfortunately, this would be the closest thing Rodney would see the entire trip to an eagle. We spent a great deal of the late morning just catching up and trying to figure out what we wanted to do. And it wasn't until later in the afternoon that we just said, well, let's go try to get a waterfall. So we decided to leave the cabin and go up to Twin Falls. As you can see here, the waterfall was a very fun place to go. Everything was prohibited that seemed to be enjoyable. And we packed up the camera gear and our hiking gear, and we prepared the long, arduous trek of 1/32nd of a mile to the waterfall. And upon our arrival, we took the most beautiful picture that would even make Ron Durant proud of this waterfall. This was taken with the Google Pixel Pro 6 with the effective 35 millimeter of 16 millimeters at f2.2, 1/50th of a second, ISO 53, no ND filter, no CPL filter, because it's a phone. As we can see, this waterfall has degraded to what I can only think of as the equivalent of a 90-year-old man with a prostate the size of a watermelon. So I decided to take a picture of Rodney basking in the glory of this waterfall. Then I handed the camera to Rodney, since he had not shot with his Z8 yet, and said, "Here, you give it a try." While I'm posing for my shot, I asked Rodney, "Where the fuck is the water?" So at this point, we decided to walk the 2.5 minutes down the trailhead back to the truck. As we're leaving, we found this glorious vista of the Ozark Mountains, totally impeded by high-tension power lines. We decided to take a picture of this. So now I decided to be creative on a couple fronts. One, I would start taking photographs of photographers taking photographs, because that seems very interesting. This is Rodney taking a photo of the power lines on the beautiful vista. I also decided that this trip would be a good opportunity for me to take more selfies. And then I decided to be adventurous, and I would take selfies in precarious places and see if I would survive the selfies and not fall to my death. This is me standing on a very large rock, and as we can see here, I have successfully captured the beautiful vista, the power lines, and myself in the selfie, and have not fallen to my death. Rodney at this point decides to take a picture of me standing on the rock after I've taken the selfie to prove that I have not died. After our titillating adventure to the waterfall and our Arkansas infrastructure photography, we came up with the brilliant idea of, let's go find something fun to do. So I looked at the map and found a reasonably close place, but like most things in the Arkansas mountains, you have to go around your elbow to get to any other functional body part. Our next destination in question would be the Parker-Hickman farmstead. Unfortunately, we had to backtrack all the way past the hotel. This portion of the journey led us down an amazing 5.5 mile gravel road where your top speed was only about 15 miles an hour. Absolutely zero cell service and no maps. This had now become one of the stereotypical YOLO moments. When we finally reached the destination, we were presented with a beautiful sign of some historical information about the farmstead. I proceeded to take this initial photograph of the main house at the farmstead and decided to make it a very contrasty black and white image. Off to a good start. Further exploration of the interior of the building presented a wonderful opportunity to take photos in almost complete darkness. I was happy to find that there was lots of texture on the walls and casting light through the windows. However, this presented an issue with the Nikon Z8 that I would test its limits of ISO performance and dynamic range. Needless to say, the Nikon Z8 did not disappoint in this task. About this time, the light was casting in a near perfect color and direction, so I took this picture of the exterior of the homestead, which is possibly one of my favorite pictures of this particular day. While exploring the barn area, I happened upon this old fence post. And most don't know, I have something with fence post. I don't know what it is yet, but there will probably be a coffee table book at some point of old fence post. And this would be a wonderful black and white image captured of Rodney being rebellious and not closing a gate. After this excursion, we decided that it was time to eat some dinner. So we decided to go back to Jasper and we went to the Ozark Cafe. This is a picture of Rodney, unimpressed that there is a camera pointed at his face.